Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture to see if those incidents may or may not affect our daily life. Listen, let me get ready. Let me get ready, honey. You know what we're about here today. UMG has done a amended version of their motion to dismiss from Drake lawsuit, defamation lawsuit. Child, when will this end? It is getting to the point now where I am just like, can the judge make them mediate? Can the judge make them mediate? Because at this point, I'm sick of this. And I think these are just my opinions and my opinions only, y'all. Don't come for me. But I think that this was all in a plot for Drake to try to halt the things that Kendrick was doing. It's just me. Everybody else can have their own opinions about that. Because this has gone on to me too long. And like I said, have always wished for both of them. It was a beef. It's over with. They need to get back to doing what they need to do. Drake has his bevy of fans. Kendrick Lamar has his bevies of fans. They just need to go and do the good things that their fans want them to do. But now it's getting ridiculous. It's really getting ridiculous. And I hear a lot of people saying, well, Drake is doing this for the artists because UNG is this and that, and it's going to, yeah, but I don't know. I am just looking, like I said, it's sad when you have a situation where you're kind of seeing the point of the corporation, because usually the corporations are the one that are acting a fool. And I don't want anybody to mishear me. I feel like if Drake feels like they are messing with his money, that's one thing. But I don't know how he's trying to. In order for, in my opinion, for him to be suing UMG, why is he not suing Kendrick Lamar? He's the one that said all the things that were said. So I know a lot of you. I know people were talking about their, what contracts say or anything like that. But what really was UMG supposed to do? Just push Drake and not push Kendrick? Any corporation is going to see where the money is coming from. They were pushing his stuff, but people weren't. Drake's fan wasn't hyping up Family Matters like they should have during the beef. What about push-ups? Even after the beef, Wagwan Delilah, all those songs that Drake came out, this last album. Why aren't Drake fans playing it on repeat? I don't understand that. But let's get into what UMG has done. There have just been a bevy of amendments, and then we had the amicus brief, and I think I don't even know if I even went over that, because it was denied. I just felt like that person was just trying to get involved in something, and they didn't have an appropriate amicus brief written, in my opinion. I don't think I even, because I don't even remember too much, but that was back in April. And so here we are. UMG is going back over this information again. The document itself is, I think it's like 30 something pages, but the actual brief is probably like 20 something pages. So we're going to be able to look and read over this. Okay. So let's get over here. Let me see. Is that where I want to be? All right. I think this is where I want to be. All right. Give me one more moment. I've got one more thing to pull up. All right, hold on. Just trying to pull up my Canva stuff. You know how it goes, y'all. I promise. I was on another stream watching another one of my mutuals do their here we go. And while I'm doing this, y'all make sure if you're on Twitter, X, please hit that like button. All right, here we go first. We're going to go here first. All right, this is my thumbnail. UMG motion to dismiss. And if you're on YouTube, please hit that like button. Share this video if you care. If you're over on Twitch, do what you all do over there. I appreciate it nonetheless. All right. So here we have this. Here's my copyright disclaimer. You all can read that for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. We can go into here, and the views and opinions expressed in my videos represents my own thoughts, concerns, and analysis. I don't know these folk personally, and my opinions are not statements of fact, y'all. And so when we're going to be looking at this lawsuit, it's not that, I mean, this amended complaint is not that much. We've got the introduction, the statement of facts, their arguments, and then all their arguments, and then the conclusion. And then there's also added some amended amendments, attachments to it. And as you can see down here, this is off of a court listener, I believe. And all of these are attachments to that. And so they're going to be, when I'm reading this, you're going to see about Exhibit A, B, C. So it's going to be all the little different things. So they got the Exhibit A as the protection of Black art petition that Drake signed a couple of years ago. We have an NPR write up about Drake and the Kendrick beef. Exhibit C is a New York Times, I guess, article. Exhibit D is going to be the lyrics to Back to Back. Exhibit E is going to be the lyrics to Duppy Freestyle. Exhibit F is going to be the lyrics to First Person Shooter. Exhibit G is going to be lyrics to Like That. Exhibit H, Push Ups. I, Tailor Made Freestyle. Exhibit J is an article from the Hot News Hip Hop article. Exhibit K is going to be Euphoria. Exhibit L is going to be 616 in LA lyrics. Exhibit M is going to be The Family Matters. Exhibit N is Meet the Grams. Exhibit O is The Heart Part 6. Exhibit P is another NPR story about the Drake and Kendrick beefing. And Exhibit Q is the Rappaport appeal beef. And I don't know exactly what that is. But anyway, that's what they're going to issue to. They're going to talk about some of the lyrics and things like that, that you all are going to see. But that's basically what's going on. All right. So this is just the timeline of the beef, so we can see it, so everybody can be concerned. If you don't know, if you're just tuning into me today. So it started off with in October 23rd with the first person shooter, and with J. Cole talking about the big three. Then you had a couple of months later, in March, Kendrick Lamar does his verse on Like That with Metro Boomin and Future. And in that, he kind of tells them there is no big three, it's just Big Me. And then Drake comes out a month later with Push Ups and Tailor Made Freestyle. Push Up was a good song, just trying to try to get him out there. But Tailor Made Freestyle, a lot of people were criticizing that song because he was using AI. They thought that was disrespectful to both Tupac, because Tupac is no longer here with us, and Snoop Dogg. I don't know why he did. I don't know why he did that. So later that month, a couple of weeks later, 3 weeks later, Kendrick puts out Euphoria, and then he puts out 616 in LA. Then we got excuse me, Drake. This was his red button. He pushed it with Family Matters, and 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes into after the song had or 30 or 40 minutes after the song had played, uh Kendrick came back with Meet the Grams. And then a day later, Kendrick comes back with Not Like Us. And then I think maybe a couple of days later, we got the Heart Part 6, if I'm not mistaken. So that is the timeline of the beef. I think it's a total of about 9 songs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 songs. It's a total about 10 songs. But if you're counting from Like That to the end, it's 9 songs. A lot of people don't want to count the first person shooter. And so here we go. We're going to go over the legal standards, the argument from UMG, and their basic argument is uh, he didn't meet the legal standards, that he failed to state a claim for the defamation, he failed to state a claim for second-degree harassment, and he failed to state a claim under the New York GBL 349 law. And I think that's it with this one. All right. So we're all caught up. Here we go. And so they start their because Drake starts his motions with a quote from Lucian Grange, and so who is the head of UMG. So I guess the lawyers for UMG have decided that they're going to start with a quote from Drake. Petty, 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 petty. It says, yeah, I want it all. That's why I strive for it. Diss me, you'll never hear a reply for it. And that was Drake in his song Successful. It says here, Drake, one of the most successful recording artists of all time, lost a rap gap battle against fellow artist Kendrick Lamar that Drake provoked, in which he willingly participated in. Because one of the things I think that UMG is doing is trying, because with Drake's lawsuit, he's making it seem like Not Like Us came out of nowhere. And that Not Like Us came out of nowhere, and that UMG basically paid Kendrick to diss Drake because they were going to have to re-up with Drake's contract. So the way it seems like Drake is crafting this lawsuit is that UMG basically gave Kendrick the green light to go ahead and to write this song, to diss him, to call him names, and that was done in a part because they wanted to lessen Drake's stock so that he couldn't come back and negotiate with UMG for a higher price. Now, this is the way from what I'm looking and way I'm reading that Drake was crafting this lawsuit. So what UMG is coming back to do is say, no, listen, that's not how it happened. I have 2 artists under my label. They decided to participate in a rap beef, and rap beefs are ubiquitous with rap music. And he participated in this rap beef. He lost this rap beef, and now he's upset and he's mad and he's trying to sue or to stop certain things going on. Now that's the way I'm thinking that they're doing this. But let's continue. Drake, one of the most successful recording artists of all time, lost a rap battle against fellow artist Kendrick Lamar that Drake provoked in and which he was a willing and willingly participated. Instead of accepting the loss like the unbothered rap artist he often claims to be, he sued his own record label in a meritless attempt to salve his wounds. On March 17, 2025, UMG moved to dismiss Drake's complaint. Rather than attempt to defend his original complaint, Drake filed an amended complaint in which he removed obviously false factual allegations but added multiple allegations about Lamar's live performance of a version of the song Night Like Us at the Super Bowl halftime show on February 9th, 2025. Drake's new allegations are astonishing. As Drake concedes, Lamar's Super Bowl performance did not include the lyrics that Drake or his associates are, quote, certified pedophiles. The alleged defamatory material that is the heart of this case, the focus of Drake's new claims that the largest audience for a Super Bowl halftime show ever did not hear Lamar call Drake or his crew PDF files, betrays this case for what it is. Drake's attack on the commercial and creative success of the rap artist who defeated him, rather than the content of Lamar's lyrics. The amended complaint is without merit and should be dismissed with prejudice. So basically, they're saying his first lawsuit was full of fictitious stuff, factually fictitious stuff. So then he amended the complaint saying that Kendrick Lamar shamed him and called him PDF files on the biggest stage. And they're saying those words didn't come out of his mouth, and simply they didn't. Now, the crowd may have been singing the song, but those words didn't come out of Kendrick Lamar's mouth, and partly it didn't come out of his mouth simply because of the censors with the Super Bowl probably wouldn't allow for those words to come out of his mouth. The FCC probably would have definitely pulled some would have complained. And I will go through that the FCC did get complaints, and I think they got like 125 complaints. They got more complaints from the Shakira and J-Lo Super Bowl halftime show, which was over I think it was like 1,500 complaints versus the 125 complaints that they got from the Super Bowl halftime show of Kendrick Lamar. Interesting. Let's continue. So here's the introduction. On In 2024, two of the most popular recording artists in the world, Kendrick Lamar and Aubrey Drake Graham, engaged in a high-profile rap battle over the course of approximately 2 months. They exchanged increasingly vitriolic and incendiary diss tracks, sometimes responding within hours of each other. Drake encouraged the feud, and they are continuing, because this is the second time that they've said this, that he was a willing participant, and now they're talking about that he encouraged the feud. When he felt at one point that Lamar was taking too long to respond, Drake released a recording goading Lamar to continue the rap battle. Lamar did just that, and collectively, Drake and Lamar released a total of 9 tracks taking aim at each other. And so, if you take out the first-person shooter song, it is 9. Not Like Us, the penultimate track in the feud, is the subject of Drake's complaint. The recording was released by Lamar through defendant UMG on May 4th, 2024, and was a massive success. The record was the best-selling rap recording of 2024 and has become ubiquitous cultural phenomenon. All of the recordings in the feud, and like many notorious diss tracks throughout rap history, Not Like Us consists of a series of hyperbolic insults. Drake was pleased to use UMG's platform to promote tracks leveling similarly incendiary attacks at Lamar, including that Lamar engaged in domestic abuse and that one of Lamar's manager is the true father of Lamar's son. But now, after losing the rap battle, Drake claims that Not Like Us is defamatory. It is not. While the complaint focused almost entirely on Not Like Us, it disregards the other diss tracks that surrounded Not Like Us, as well as the diss track genre, and thus critically ignores the context of the dispute. Assessed in context, it must be Not Like Us conveys non-actionable opinion and rhetorical hyperbole. Indeed, diss tracks are popular and celebrated art forms centered around outrageous insults, and they would be chilled if Drake's suit were permitted to proceed. Drake also alleges that Not Like Us constitutes second degree harassment, but sues under a criminal statute that has no private right of action and does not proscribe speech. Finally, Drake claims that UMG's promotion of Not Like Us violates New York's General Business Law 349, but fails to allege any of the elements from that claim. Less than 3 years ago, Drake himself signed a public petition criticizing the trends of prosecutors using artists' creative expression against them by treating rap lyrics as literal fact. And so, you remember, we read off those different exhibits, and that is going to be Exhibit A, the Protect Black Art petition. And if you want to go back to see those, if you want to see that, let me know, and I'll definitely will go over those different exhibits. As Drake recognized, when it comes to rap, the final work is a product of an artist's vision and imagination. Drake was right then and is wrong now. The complaints claim against UMG are no more than Drake's attempt to save face for his unsuccessful rap battle with Lamar. The court should dismiss the amended complaint with prejudice. So here we're going over the statements of fact. And it goes over the parties. And this is UMG is a global music company, and it's talk about Drake as an internationally artist. UMG represents Lamar and Drake. So we'll continue. Part B. Drake and Lamar engaged in a vitriolic rap feud. Not Like Us was released as part of a rap beef between Drake and Lamar. The artist's feud reportedly traces its origin back more than a decade, but broke into the public domain in early 2024 when Drake and Lamar began trading diss tracks, sometimes within the same hour. Drake and Lamar's feud is not unique. Rap feuds have existed pretty much since the beginning of rap in the 70s, and several storied feuds have occurred throughout rap history. And it would have been telling if they would have just added a couple of notorious rap feuds, even if they did it down here in the footnotes. I think that would have been for the judge to be able to see that, hey, this is something because this rapper, and this rapper feuded, this rapper and this rapper feuded, this rapper, and then they would have. But anyway, I'm gonna continue. RJNXB. Drake is a prolific rap feud combatant, having traded diss tracks with artists including Meek Mill and Pusha T. Okay. So they're letting them know that this is not the first and the only rap feud that he's been in. The public feud between Drake and Lamar traces back to the October 2023 track First Person Shooter by Drake and J. Cole, in which J. Cole rapped that he, Drake, and Lamar were the big three, i.e., the top three rappers in the industry. In response, Lamar appeared on the March 2024 track Like That with artists Future and Metro Boomin, in which he rejected the notion that Drake and J. Cole were his equals, rapping, quote, "Motherfuck the big three, nigga, it's just Big Me." And they tell you that it's in Exhibit G. Drake responded in April 2024 with the diss track Push Ups, which was distributed by UMG. So they're saying that the track takes aim at Lamar, insulting inter alia his height. How the fuck you big stepping with the size 7 men's on, and pipsqueak pipe down, end quote. And his career, quote, "Your last one bricked, you're really not on shit." And he also stoked the feud, stating, quote, "And that effing song y'all got did not start the beef with us. This shit been brewing in a pot. Now I'm heating up." Then, seemingly impatient with the time it was taking Lamar to respond, Drake released tailor made freestyle on Instagram. The track used artificial intelligence to make it sound as if the voice of deceased rap icon Tupac Shakur is rapping Drake's lyrics. In Tupac's voice, Drake taunts Lamar and notably urges Lamar to talk about Drake liking young girls on his next track. And here they quote his lyrics: Kendrick, we need you, the West Coast savior, engraving your name in some hip hop history. If you deal with this viciously, you seem a little nervous about all the publicity. Uh, Fuck this Canadian light skin dot. We need a no debated West Coast victory, man. Call him a bitch for me. Talk about him liking young girls. That's a gift for me. Heard it all on the Button podcast. It's got to be true. Ooh, child. And in his voice, Drake goads Lamar to release a new diss track. And they quote his lyrics here. Since like that, your tone changed a little. You're not as enthused. How are you not in the booth? It feels like you kind of removed. You're trying to let this shit die down. Nah, nah, nah. Not this time, nigga. You following through. I guess you need another week to figure out how to improve. What the fuck is taking so long? We waiting on you. And you had DJ Academics on his I don't know if it was, anyway, on one of his platforms, where he was like 5 days since such and such, 7 days to 17, because I think it got to like the 17th day. They're like, we hadn't heard from Kendrick, and then Kendrick drops Euphoria. Lamar responded with two tracks: Euphoria, released by UMG on April 30th, followed by 616 in LA, released by Lamar on Instagram on May 3rd. Lamar raps of Drake and Euphoria. A pathetic master manipulator, I can smell the tails on you now. You're not a rap artist, you're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. He criticized Drake's music. I make music that electrify him. You make music that pacifies him. And he attacks his use of Tupac's voice. A Canadian nigga make Pac turn in his grave. His parenting. I got a son to raise, but I see that you don't know nothing about that. And his character and identity. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch flight, it's going to be direct. How many more fairy tales about your life till we've had enough? How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough? Lamar's insults continue on 616 in LA, where he raps that members of Drake's team are disloyal. Quote, have you ever thought that OVO is working for me? Fake bully, I hate bullies. You must be a terrible person. Everyone inside your team is whispering that you deserve it. End quote. Drake responded on the evening of May 3rd with the track Family Matters, distributed by UMG. The track is a scathing attack on Lamar, laden with hyperbolic slurs. Drake attacks Lamar's authenticity. You just acting like an activist. It's make believe. Mocks his height. He's always said I overlooked him. I was staring straight. These bars go over Kenny's head no matter what I say. States that Lamar cheats on his fiance. Why did you move to New York? Is it because you live in that bachelor life? Proposed in 2015, but don't want to make her your actual wife. I'm guessing this wedding ain't happening, right? Because we know the girls that you actually like. Your darkest secrets are coming to light. And asserts, end quote, and asserts that one of Lamar's children was fathered by one of his managers, Dave Free. Your baby mama captions always screaming, save me. You did her dirty all your life. You trying to make peace. I heard that one of them little kids might be Dave Free. Don't make it Dave Free, because if your GM is your BM secret BD, then it's all making plenty fucking sense to me. It's so hard to try to say all those lyrics without singing them. Okay. Drake also raps that Lamar abuses his fiance, stating, when you put your hands on your girl, is it self-defense because she's bigger than you? And they hired a crisis management team to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen. The tracks makes other allusions to violence. Drake opens that he had emptied the clip over friendlier jabs and asks, which one of my so-called niggas need a shelf from the clip? And raps, come get this ass whooping. I'm handing him out. The track closes with Drake stating, you're dead, You're dead. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide. Gunshots at various points. Lamar responded with two back to back tracks, Meet the Gram, followed by Not Like Us. In Meet the Grams, Lamar directs his insults to Drake and members of his family. Not Like Us was released on May 4th. Like the diss track before it, Not Like Us consists of hyperbolic insults. Lamar carves Drake's names. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? And it was God plans to show y'all the liar. Mocks Drake's brand. What's OVO for? The other vaginal option? Pussy. And what's the owl? Bird niggers and bird bitches. Makes hyperbolic threats of violence. You think the Bay gonna let you disrespect Pac, nigga? I think that Oakland show gonna be your last stop, nigga. Attacks Drake's relationships, including alleging that Drake had a relations with rapper Lil Wayne's girlfriend. Fucked on one of Wayne girls while he was in jail. That's conniving. And calls him a fucking colonizer, inferring Drake exploits other artists for financial benefits. Now, I don't think that they put that. I highlighted that because I don't think that UMG had put that in any other complaint, but I see that they put that there. That because in Drake's complaint, he was making reference that Kendrick Lamar was talking about his Jewish heritage, calling him a colonizer, and was saying that that's because he has he has Jewish heritage. But UMG has come back and put in here, no, he was talking about the fact that inferring that Drake exploits his other artists. And they could have also added some more of that verse in there. But again, that whole lyrics for that verse is exhibit. They don't have a separate exhibit for Not Like Us. An attachment for it. They don't have an attachment for that. Interesting. Mm-mm, they don't. Interesting. Let's continue. So they could have put more information on that verse in here. They definitely could. Taking up Drake's invitation in Taylor Made Freestyle to quote, talk about Drake liking young girls, Lamar also makes various statements referred to it in the complaint, including, say Drake, I hear you like him young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. To any bitch that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. And why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. He also raps, quote, and Baca got a weird case. Why is he around? Certified lover boy, certified pedophiles, PDF files. And states, and your homeboy needs subpoena. That predator moves in flocks. That name got to be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. Drake responded the following day with the Heart Part 6. And Drake doubles down on the statement that one of Lamar's children was fathered by Mr. Free. And why isn't Whitney denying any of the allegation? Why is she following Dave Free? And like if Dave really fucked your girl and got her pregnant, talk about breeding resentment. And he reiterates his claim of domestic violence view. I don't want to fight with a woman beater. It feeds your nature. Drake states that he expected the alleged defamatory statements in Not Like Us, where he quotes, this Epstein angle was the shit I expected. TikTok videos you collected and dissected, and denies them. Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I never looked twice at no teenager. Now he's the one that entered Epstein because I think Kendrick Lamar said something about Weinstein. He didn't say anything about Epstein, but Drake put that in there. Hey, Blue, what'd you say? This case will be dismissed as foolishness. Gone. I just don't know. I'm tired. I'm tired. I know that they're tired, and it's the same. It's the same stuff. I don't know what we're expecting, and I know a lot of people are like, "Well, this case is about artists and making sure that the record company are not doing things against artists and negotiations and all this other stuff." But this ain't talking about none of that. We're not talking about any of that. We're not talking about any of that. Now, I will. Where was I? The track also contains further references to violence, including "I'll slit your throat with the razor" and "Yeah, bullets that I'm stuffing in each chamber, your ass is in extreme dangers." Now, they do a little footnote and it says Baca refers to OVO member Baca Not Nice, who was arrested in 2014 on human trafficking and assault charges and convicted of assault in 2015. Because the human trafficking charges, from what I understand, were dropped because the girl that was the center of all this did not testify against him, but I think the assault charges went through. Let's continue. So, see, Not Like Us is a massive commercial and artistic success. Lamar is widely perceived to have won the rap feud. Not Like Us has been a massive commercial and artistic success. It was the best selling rap song of 2024, and Rolling Stone deemed it the biggest moment in music of the year. The song recording and video of Not Like Us were collectively nominated for 5 Grammy Awards, as voted on by 13,000 music industry peers. That's an addition that they added on there because they are adding little, to me, they're adding little cute little jabs to let the judge know it's not just us. It's what the culture this little like these little bitty jabs, like, see, he was participating in it. He ain't telling y'all that he participated in that. He's not telling you about Baca Not Nice with the weird case. He's not telling you all the stuff that he did. He is trying to explain to you, judge, that Not Like Us just came out of nowhere, and that song was created with the intention of defaming him so that he would not be able to uh, negotiate a good deal when it came to re-upping his contract. Including Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Rap Performance, Best Rap Song, and Best Music Video, and won in all 5 categories. Lamar performed a live version of Not Like Us at the February 9th, 2025 Super Bowl, what is that, 60? I don't know. Halftime show to a record audience. So here we're going over their argument. And so they're saying, in one, legal standard, a complaint must plead enough facts to state a claim to relief that is plausible on its face. And it quotes the different, because they're going to be quoting a lot of different cases in here. And I'm going to try my best to skip over those quotes. If you go and you pull this complaint up, there's a whole list, even at the beginning, there's a whole list of cases that they're going to be referring to, and I won't be referring to those because that'll take forever. Is it Shishido Johans? Yeah, LOL. It's definitely with a culture's view. Oh my goodness. Let's continue. In certain circumstances, the court may permissibly consider documents other than the complaint in ruling on a motion under Rule 12b-6, including documents incorporated into the complaint by reference and matters of which a court may take judicial notice, including the fact that press coverage contained certain information. In particular, courts will take judicial notice of documents that provide necessary context for a defamation claim. So they're wanting the judge to, in this particular packet, that's why they included all those different references and things like that. They want to make sure that the judge has everything that was going on, because he's only going to look at these. He's only in his motion to dismiss, he's only going to look at this filing and everything attached to this filing. So they're making sure that they have all of those things. But again, they did not attach like us. Yeah, they did not attach not like us on here. So ooh, I don't know if that's going to be as important or not, but they definitely didn't attach it. There is a particular value in resolving defamation claims as at the pleading stage, so as not to protract litigation through discovery and trial, and thereby chill the exercise of constitutionally protected freedoms. In defamation case, Rule 12b-6 not only protects against the cost of meritless litigation, but provides assurance to those exercising their First Amendment rights that doing so will not needlessly become prohibitively expensive. It says here, Drake fails to state a claim for defamation. Drake, who had no concerns using UMG's platform to publish slurs about Lamar during their rap feud, now claims that Not Like Us is defamatory. These allegations, directly aimed at chilling legitimate artistic expression safeguarded by the First Amendment and New York law, are meritless. Drake fails to state a claim for defamation because Not Like Us conveys non-actionable opinions and rhetorical hyperbole, not fact, because he does not adequately plead that UMG acted with malice. Because again, the person who you need to sue in regards to malice is Kendrick Lamar. Just like you had a song published by UMG stating that Kendrick was doing all these things. He was beating his wife. He was dating other people and doing all kinds of stuff. You can't prove that's true or not. Just like we can't prove whether or not that you're a PDF file. The alleged defamatory material is non-actionable opinion and hyperbole. To be defamatory, a publication must convey fact, not opinion or rhetorical hyperbole. Expressions of opinion as opposed to assertion of facts are deemed privileged, and no matter how offensive, cannot be subject of an action for defamation. It says here in this footnote down here, it says, Drake claims this lawsuit is not about the artist who created Not Like Us. Nonsense. Although this lawsuit is baseless against any target, it's plainly about Lamar. No, they didn't. Drake's repeated insistence to contrary merely betrays his recognition that his true battle was and is with Lamar. I'll go ahead and highlight that because I'm going to come back to that later. All right. Cannot be the subject of an action for defamation. Whether a statement conveys fact or opinion is a, quote, question of law for the court. The burden rests with the plaintiff to establish that in the context of the entire communication, a disputed statement is not protected opinion. The concept of opinion has come to mean more than it does outside the libel law context. To distinguish assertions of fact from non-actionable opinion, courts analyze: one, whether the specific language in issue has a precise meaning which is readily understood; two, whether the statements are capable of being proven true or false; And three, whether either the full context of the communication in which the statements appear or the broader social context and surrounding circumstances are such to signal readers or listeners that what is being read or heard is likely to be opinion, not fact. At its crux, the question for the court to resolve as a matter of law is what an objective, reasonable person hearing the statement would take it to mean. In this assessment, context is key. The Court of Appeals of New York has consistently focused its analysis on the overall context in which the complaint of assertions were made. This includes both the immediate context in which the disputed words appear, as well as the quote, the larger context in which the statements were published, including the nature of the particular forum. So I guess what they're wanting the court to do, which in Drake's uh, complaint wasn't doing, is to take the full context of what's going on. Again, Not Like Us didn't appear out of nowhere, and UMG was pushing this song because they were trying to do it to make sure that they hurt Drake's standing in any community or anything like that. They're saying that you have to take into context what was going on, and there was a rap beef going on where both parties vigorously, I hate when I lose a thought like that, where both parties were vigorously participating in, because they were going back and forth, back and forth. Everybody who was listening understood and knew that this was a rap beef. If you understood rap beefs and battle raps, you know that the process of doing that is that you're trying to uh, hurt your opponent or say the most dogged thing that you can think of about your opponent. And people are understanding that people are talking out the side of their necks, and that stuff is not and things are not always true. Now, there may be some things that are true statements in there, but most of all, people understand and know that basically what rap beefs are playing the dozens if you come from my age group. So it's going back and forth. If you're out, that's what these rap beefs are, and that's what these rap battles are. They're going back and forth, and you can go back into history, and you will see that even in some of the rap beefs, a lot of the stuff wasn't anything that it was true. It was just the fact that it's something that that could possibly hurt that person's feelings. All right. A statement's tone and apparent purpose may signal that it's not conveying an accurate factual statement. So that this is basically what they're going on with this, and we won't continue to go through here. Other than this little statement right here, is that New York courts routinely hold that tone and context render allegedly defamatory publications not actionable. So let's continue down. And they go over Michael Rappaport's case, all of that. We don't really too much care about Michael Rappaport. Okay, let's see. These conclusions apply equally here. Considered in context as required, Not Like Us contains hyperbole and opinion, not facts. Looking first to its tone, the 4.5-minute rap diss track consists of epithets, fiery rhetoric, and hyperbole. The track is rife with rumor and speculation and reflects a considerable degree of anger and resentment. The lyrics are loose and figurative. So let's continue. Exaggerated imagery in the music video reinforces that Not Like Us is not intended to reflect factual analysis. The video opens with Lamar whispering to a clown that he sees dead people, a nod to the film The Sixth Sense, applying hyperbolically that Drake has been defeated in the rap battle. The video also shows Lamar beating an owl pinata with a disclaimer. No OV hoes were harmed during the making of this video. This imagery reinforces the non factual nature of Not Like Us. No reasonable listener would require a disclaimer that a piñata is not literally Drake and his crew. The imagery is satirical, figurative, and vitriolic, signaling to the audience that the video does not convey sober factual analysis. Likewise, the cover image of Drake's Toronto house is obviously doctored, further underscoring the non factual nature of Not Like Us. Again, no reasonable viewer would believe that the image of Drake's mansion with 13 sex offender markers is real. The image is hyperbolic and exaggerated, conveying opinion, not fact. But the way this climate is today, y'all, when people are out here misstating facts, I'm talking to you flat earther people, as if anyway, let's continue. The broader context reinforced that Not Like Us is not actionable. The alleged defamatory content, which was published in connection with a rap diss track, hardly a form that a reasonable person would expect to convey rigorous factual content. And Not Like Us was Lamar's culminating track in one of the nastiest lyrical warfare rap feuds in recent history. It followed the release of 7 preceded tracks in which Drake and Lamar hurled increasingly vitriolic allegations, including Drake's slurs that Lamar's son was fathered by someone else and that Lamar's physically abused his wife, his fiance. If ever was circumstances for the audience to anticipate the use of epithets, fiery rhetoric, or hyperbole, this is it. If statements in a letter to the editor are non-actionable because the common expectation is such letters do not serve as a vehicle for the rigorous and comprehensive presentation of factual manner. Uh, if statements in an op-ed are non-actionable because the expectation is op-eds, contains considerable hyperbole, speculation, and diversified forms of expression and opinion. And if statements at a public hearing are non actionable because attendees expect to hear vigorous expressions of personal opinion at such events, it defies reason to suggest that statements made in a rap diss track convey anything but non actionable opinion rather than an accurate factual assessment offered by a disinterested observer. In a strained attempt to justify his claim, Drake points to a selection of cherry picked anonymous online comments, which he says evidence that the average listener or viewer has understood, Not Like Us, to reflect factual assertions about Drake rather than art or hyperbole. Because if you went back, we went over that, and he had a list of online like tweets and comments under YouTube videos and all of these little different things where there were some people who were saying, "Oh my gosh, if Drake is doing that, then this, oh, he's a PDF, da 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 this, da 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 da." So there were a lot of comments that came out in regards to that. Because, like I said, I just said it, in this climate, there are people who will believe anything. But when you start to research some of this stuff, it's like, yeah, but there's nothing there's nothing. Drake has not been accused by anybody. He has not gone to court, he has not been convicted in a court of law by anybody. It's just that there is just some weird things that he has done, and there are some rumors that people have said, but there is, and then he's even said it himself. Tailor-made freestyle. Hey, you need to go on this little girl angle, this little kid angle. You need to push that through. So even Drake himself understood and know that this was a rap battle. So we'll continue. And so they go over some of those things, and we're not going to read any of that. So let's get to here. It says Drake also claims that the lyrics of Not Like Us imply that, quote, they are based on additional facts not disclosed to the listener. And I think it goes to that line where he says, how many something that I have in stock? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. And so he's saying that, well, Kendrick Lamar is saying that he's got more stuff. If you want him to put out the songs, Drake, just say so. Just say so. And I won't be mad. I want to hear the other songs that he had hurled against you as well. Because I believe when people were saying, well, he was in the studio and he was recording all this stuff, I believe that they were talking about him recording GNX. That's just me. But if there's 6 more songs, Kendrick Lamar, put them out there. Because I'm quite sure Drake has a couple of other songs that he has that he wants to put out. Y'all just put them on out. I mean, we the public would love to be generous benefactors of those songs. We would all we would love to be generous benefactor, because I'm quite sure Drake has some songs to put out. Kendrick has said that he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5, so there's 6 more songs because he did what 3 or 4 already. So there's 6 more songs. We the public are okay with being the humble benefactors of more songs from Drake and more songs from Kendrick. This too fails as a matter of law. New York courts applied the objective, reasonable person standard to assess whether a statement implies undisclosed facts. And it goes on. Let's see. Here we go. Excuse me, y'all. Drake points to 2 lyrics to support his argument that Not Like Us leaves an unmistakable impression that is based on undisclosed facts. The first one, say Drake, I hear you like I'm young, and rabbit hole is still deep. I can go further, I promise. These statements cannot be reasonably understood as conveying undisclosed fact. Cuz, say Drake. Drake claims as to the first lyric is particularly stunning. As noted above, Drake himself goaded Lamar to talk about Drake liking young girls. That Lamar then did so does not convey anything other than that Lamar accepted Drake's invitation. In all events, the statements are too vague to support the weight that Drake gives them, as they have no precise meaning which is readily understood. More fundamentally, for the reasons of tone and context already discussed, because remember, they're saying we were in the middle of a rap battle. These rhetorical statements fail to imply any factual basis for the lyrics in Not Like Us. Moreover, the broader context shows both Lamar and Drake traded these sorts of jabs. For example, Drake in Family Matters claims with respect to his own unfounded allegations that your quote, your darkest secrets are coming to light. He makes similar assertions in The Heart Part 6, rapping, what about the bones we dug up in that excavation? For all these reasons, a reasonable person would not interpret these lyrics as conveying undisclosed facts, but would stand them for what they are, saber rattling in a rap battle. And so they go with some footnotes of talking about let's see. So footnote 11, it says, indeed, to the extent rabbit hole has an understood meaning, it does not imply undisclosed facts, but rather pursuing a known piece of information. Quote, Alice followed the rabbit down the hole to Wonderland. And in that sense implies Lamar is referring to well-known rumors regarding relationships with minors. Down here, number 13, it says Drake also alleges the statements in Lamar's Euphoria, including, don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truths about you. And I know some shit about niggas that make Gunna wanna look like a sing. Imply that Not Like Us is based on undisclosed facts. For the same reason discussed above, this argument fails both in light of the rhetorical hyperbole of the artist's rap battle and because there is no connection drawn between these lyrics and then the statement, Not Like Us. All right. It says predate facts and criticism concerning Drake's relationship with minors predate Not Like Us and have been widely reported. And it says, see note Exhibit B. And Exhibit B is a NPR report about the Drake and Kendrick beef. Noting that Lamar is quote indicating Drake for years of rumors and speculation around his misbehavior around minors, and that quote Millie Bobby Brown is one of the things that most people are aware of when it comes to Drake and the rumors around him. Quote, blah, blah, blah. In the Heart Part 6, Drake also affirmed that he understood Lamar's statements in Not Like Us to refer to the Millie Bobby Brown controversy, stating, this Epstein angle was the shit I expected, and quote, only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. And I'd never looked twice at no teenager. Clearly, Drake himself understands that Lamar's lyrics refer to a well-known issues that have been widely reported. Drake's arguments concerning undisclosed facts carry no weight. Drake cannot allege that UMG acted with malice. Drake's claim should be dismissed for failure to plead actual malice. A public figure can prevail on a defamation claim only where, quote, clear and convincing evidence proves that a defamatory statement was published with actual malice, that is, with deliberate or reckless falsification. The element of actual malice focuses primarily on what a defendant knew or believed at the time a purported false statement was made. Because UMG is a corporation, Drake must also plead specific allegations that individuals at UMG acted with actual malice at the time that they participated in the publication of the statement in question. Drake does not and cannot plead that any specific person acted with actual malice. His defamation claim fails for that reason. He'd have to show that somebody at UMG, if I'm reading this correctly, ran down to ran down to Kendrick and was actually helping him write this song to do all of this. He can't really prove that. Because remember he was talking about payola and all this other stuff, and that went away. So he can't prove that any specific person acted with malice, and that they participated in the publication of the statement. Again, this Not Like Us was written by Kendrick Lamar. Not Like Us was not written by UMG. Not Like Us wasn't written by any employee of UMG. Not Like Us was written by a contracted artist under UMG who holds the same weight as Kendrick Lamar. As Drake. Both of them are signed to companies that are under the umbrella of UMG. So both of them technically have same weight because they're artists. Now I don't know nothing about their contracts. I don't know how anything has been signed or anything. Stuff. I don't know anything about all that. It says here under the footnote, courts also recognize that the malice inquiry must focus on what the publisher intended to convey. Where the speaker intends his statements at outrageous parodies or caricature, there must be no consciousness that the speaker is publishing something false because the speaker does not think he is publishing a statement of fact and therefore lacks subjective knowledge or recklessness as to the falsification of a statement of fact required. It says here, Drake fails to state a claim for second degree harassment. Drake asserts a claim for harassment in the second degree under New York Penal Law 240.26-3, claiming that Lamar issued a call to target Drake, including through violence, and that Not Like Us amounts to incitement. This claim fails for multiple reasons. Let's see what they say. First, there's no private right of action. Where a penal statute does not expressly confer a private right of action on individuals pursuing civil relief, recovery under a statute may be had only if a private right of action may fairly be implied. I didn't let me read that again because that didn't roll off my tongue too well. First, there is no private right of action. Quote, where a penal statute does not expressly confer a private right of action on individuals pursuing civil relief, recovery under such a statute may be had only if a private right of action may fairly be implied, end quote. This requires considering, quote, whether creation of such a right would be consistent with the legislative scheme, which is not the case when there are, quote, alternative enforcement mechanisms. Section 240.26 does not satisfy this test because nothing distinguishes it from every other criminal statute that lacks a private right of action. Indeed, the fact that the second degree harassment is included in the penal law, giving police officers the ability to enforce its provision, means that a private right of action is inconsistent with the legislative scheme. Courts therefore routinely hold that 240.26 does not create a private right of action. And that's all lawyers speak to me. Drake's harassment claim fails for other reasons. The statute requires that UMG act with, quote, intent to harass or annoy or alarm Drake. New York Penal Law 240.26, but at most, Drake merely asserts an intent to, quote, devalue Drake's music and brand in order to gain leverage in negotiations. And even this allegation makes no sense. Drake does not explain how a contract with Drake would be more profitable for UMG if Drake was devalued. UMG revenues would decrease. Indeed, Drake's contradictorily alleges that UMG had the opposite incentive with respect to re-sign Lamar. Furthermore, 240.26-3 prohibition on harassing, quote, course of conduct, end quote, does not proscribe pure speech, which is what is at issue here. Drake claims also cannot meet the constitutional test for incitement, which requires that the speech at issue be both, quote, intended to produce and likely to produce imminent disorder. Drake nowhere alleges that UMG intended to cause violence against him, nor are the lyrics of Not Like Us likely to produce imminent lawless action. And while Drake attempts to contort violent metaphors in the lyrics into incitement, hyperbolic and metaphorical language is par for the course in diss tracks. So they're coming back to make it come back around. Remember, Judge, we were in a rap battle. You remember Drake and Kendrick were in a rap battle. It wasn't that this song came out of nowhere and was inciting people. Remember, there were jabs being thrown back and forth with Drake talking about Kendrick beating his wife, his girlfriend, his fiance, and that one of the kids that he claims to be the father of is not his. And then Kendrick pushing back at Drake, say, Drake, I see you, hear you like I'm young, better not ever go to Cell Block 1, and you're a colonizer because you extort your artists or any artist that you work with. So they were going back and forth. And while Drake attempts to contort violent metaphors in the lyrics into incitement, hyperbolic and metaphorical language as par for the curse in diss tracks. Indeed, Drake's own diss tracks employed imagery far more violent, with such lyrics as you're dead, and no, there's nowhere to hide, and I'll slit your throat." Finally, but see, remember, in Drake's complaint, he doesn't mention any other song, but Not Like Us. And I'll go back and reread it because it's been a minute since I've read it. Finally, Drake fails to allege that UMG acted with no legitimate purpose in publishing and promoting Not Like Us. The phrase no legitimate purpose means the absence of a reason or justification to engage someone other than to hound, frighten, intimidate, or threaten. Here, Drake expressly alleges that UMG's motives with respect to Not Like Us were financial. Now, did UMG make money? Absolutely. Did UMG make money on these songs that they published for Drake? Absolutely. And again, it was up to the fans to how they were consuming these tracks. Now Drake's fans did not re-listen to enough Family Matters. Now, could that have been because 40 minutes later, Kendrick brought out Meet the Grams? It could be. But again, there was no reason, even after the Heart Part 6, there was no reason why Drake's fans could not have continued to consume Family Matters. That's not a Kendrick problem. That is a fan base problem. Your fan base should have been reconsuming that song, dissecting it, so to speak. Immediately after the release of Not Like Us, Drake started making baseless accusations that Lamar was using surreptitious means such as fake streams to make the song appear more popular. Now Drake has attempted to shoehorn his grievance into a claim against UMG. Drake claims UMG made materially false and misleading representations about the recording's popularity to consumers without disclosing that there was a, quote, covertly a financial incentivizing third party to play, stream, and promote the recording, including paying others to use bots and to stream the recording. Drake cannot satisfy the elements of a GBL claim. First, Drake fails to plausibly allege, quote, a covert scheme. All of his allegations are, quote, on information and belief. Drake has also received information that UMG engaged in a classic pay for play scheme by paying to increase the airplay of the recording on the radio. But such allegations must be accompanied by a statement of facts upon the belief it is accompanied by a statement of the facts upon which the belief is founded and cannot rest on pure conjecture and speculation. This is true, especially with regards to consumer fraud, such as those under GBL 349. So I guess they're basically saying that because everyone knows that UMG had to pay out some money back in the early 2000s in regard to this payola and all this other stuff. So I think from that, Drake is saying, well, they've done it before. What is stopping them from doing it again? And that is not that's a plausible concept because they've done it before. What's to stop them to do it again? However, that is also going to show that possibly Drake and other artists have benefited from that. And so I don't know how that plays in or ties into anything. But again, it's not a plausible It's not plausible. It is plausible to assume if they've done it once that UMG could have done it again. But let's continue. After withdrawing his prior false allegations that UMG was accused on a podcast of paying to use bots to stream Not Like Us. Now, if you remember what this is, they're talking about DJ Academic's little live stream where some guy came on there and said somebody from Interscope paid him $3,000 to do what 30,000 or 300,000 likes or streaming of Not Like Us. And I think he was supposed to have been paid what 25 to $3,000, and he was supposed to get another $3,000 or $4,000 later. And then that was proven to be false. Drake is now reduced to citing a different podcast host who claimed that Kendrick used bots so that a Drake record would have more dislikes than likes. This is interesting. Who was this? Who said this? Y'all gotta because I know this one up here was DJ Academics. Which different podcast hosts claim that? He also relied on a now deleted anonymous X comment accusing Lamar of quote buying promo to clown Drake lawsuit not to promote Not Like Us, as well as another post claiming that UMG and Lamar used a bot streamer. Courts reject such online comment based pleadings because online comments utterly fail to make plausible the underlying factual claims. So, thus, these comments cannot save Drake's information and belief allegations. Drake's remaining allegations are even more speculative, such as two X posts from July 2024 showing Not Like Us being recommended to Spotify users who search for rap artists. Drake also fails to plausibly allege that UMG had actual knowledge of any conduct or accusation concerning Lamar. Moreover, Drake cannot allege that any representation about the recording's popularity to consumers were actually, quote, deceptive or misleading in any material way. Drake does not and cannot allege that Not Like Us would not have been an immense success had it not been for the alleged financial incentives at issue. That is, there are no alleged false or deceptive statements, even assuming that these payments occurred. Nor does Drake allege that knowledge of these alleged covert payments would be material to consumers. After all, there is no obligation under GBL 349 to provide whatever information a consumer might like to know. Second, Drake's injury theory is that one, each time the recording was artificially streamed, Drake's son received a disproportionate share from the pool of royalties collected based on the streaming data. And every time the recording was played on the radio, Drake lost the opportunity for one of his songs to be played. Again, that sounds like a fan issue because there was nothing prohibiting any Drake fan from replaying any Drake song that and even to this day, there's nothing prohibiting you, a Drake fan, for playing any of Drake songs as they could play a Kendrick song and vice versa. There's nothing prohibiting Kendrick fans from playing Kendrick songs and for Kendrick fans to be playing Drake songs. There's just nothing prohibiting them from doing that. Nor does Drake allege how either claim injury was caused by a failure to disclose the alleged financial incentive, that is, how they were a result of the deception. At any event, Drake's GBL claim fails because he only alleges injuries that are indirect. injuries, quote, purely contingent on harm to third parties. And in the footnote, it says here Drake's claim also fails because he merely alleges consumers stream Not Like Us and listen to it on the radio, only the latter of which purportedly partially occurred in New York. Here, under Drake's own telling, the injuries he suffers are contingent on others, streaming platforms or consumers, being deceived, which means that they are indirect and thus not compensable under Section 349. And then their conclusion is that the amended complaint should be dismissed with prejudice. And that's the end. And they have to go, and this is always interesting to me. They have to verify that there were 8,749 words in the document. All right. So we did that in about an hour and a half. So what do y'all think? Let me go ahead and stop sharing this. So what are y'all thinking? This is UMG saying that they want this case to be dismissed, and they have outlined what they believe are the things that they needed to outline to have this case dismissed. I'm quite sure that Drake is going to come back with another amended complaint, and when he does, we will definitely be on top of that. But what do you all think? Leave it down in the comments below. Do you think that the judge is going to dismiss this case, or do you think we're going to go to court? I do know that Drake is doing discovery, and one of his things that he was doing as far as discovery was to look over Kendrick Lamar's contract with UMG. I don't know what he has pulled out of that, but I would be interested to see what he's pulled out, because knowing with Drake, he'll probably release the he may release it. He may say something about the contract and the songs. We never know. All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, what do y'all think about UMG's amended complaint and what's going on here with Drake? Because he's going to continue. He is going to continue to pursue this until I guess he can't pursue this anymore, because if he was trying to get this concert stopped, I don't think that this lawsuit was going to be able to do that. So let's see what you all are saying. It's been a wild mess. At this point, Drake fans are seemingly more injured than Drake. Again, even when he talks about, the streaming, and because Kendrick Lamar's songs are streaming and his songs are not, that's not a UMG problem. That is your fan base needs to get out here and to play your songs. Encourage your fans to listen to the songs, because you have put out songs since this beef. You have a whole what is it? I think the popular song was Nokia. You've got a whole song out here. And I don't know where you're falling under Billboard. But are the fans streaming this song? They should be. Y'all Drake fans need to get out here and stream the song, because the beat is nice. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I like that. Get out here and stream it. A mess. A mess. All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.